We're going to practice some long division, and what I'd like us to be able to divide is x plus 2, and I want to divide that by 3x to the third minus 4x squared minus 28x minus 16. All right, so you might want to pause the video, try it yourself. If not, follow along. And so my first look for all of these is to take the first term of the divisor and see what I need to multiply it by to get 3x to the third. So I'm trying to figure out 3x to the third divided by x, or what do I need to multiply x by to get 3x to the third. So I need to multiply by a 3 and then an x squared. So I'm going to line that up with my x squareds. You don't need to, but you can. So now I'm going to take 3x squared and I'm going to multiply it by each of these terms. So 3x squared times x is 3x to the third. And then I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to have 3 times 2 is 6, x squared. Please don't worry about what the signs are, like what I need to change them. I'm subtracting at the same time. Do this one step at a time. Figure out what you need to multiply by, write it down. Now distribute it and put those here. Now I'm going to do the subtraction. So if I'm subtracting this, I'm really just doing a switch with the signs. We're subtracting each of the terms. So this positive 3x cubed becomes negative, we're subtracting it, and the positive 6 becomes a negative because I'm subtracting it. Let's do the subtraction. Those cancel. They should always be opposite signs. And here I have negative 4x squared and negative 6x squared. So negative 10x squared. And then we bring down the next term. Don't bring down more, just bring down the next term. All right, so now I'm looking again. Where or what am I needing to multiply by x to get negative 10x squared? Well, I want something positive to become something negative. So I'm going to need a negative. And there's a 1 in front of here, and I want it to become a 10. So I'd have to multiply by 10. And I have 1x, and I want to get to 2. So I need to add another x. If I go ahead and multiply and distribute, I'm going to have negative 10x squared minus 20x. Now here's where I'm going to do the subtraction. So I'm subtracting this. So change, change. What was negative is now positive. And that's good because these will cancel. I'm always trying to cancel out this first term. Here I have negative 8x. And if I bring that down, I have negative 16. Now I am working on this outside first term x with this negative 8x. Well, I'm going to have to make it negative because I want to get negative 8. And I'll have to make it an 8 too, so let's write that. So that's why I like to line these up, because now I can see there's nothing else for me to possibly go on, but I do need to finish this last step. So negative 8x, let's see, minus 16. Set it up for subtraction. So I'm subtracting a negative, it's going to be a positive. Subtracting a negative is going to be a positive, and they end up canceling out. And the remainder is 0. So here's my final answer. And I also know that x plus 2 is a factor of, I'm not going to write the whole polynomial down, is a factor of the dividend. And that's because the remainder is 0. So there's long division, and we'll do another one with this being a trinomial. All right, here's another problem, long division, and it's set up as a fraction here. So we're going to take the denominator, and the denominator is x squared minus 2x minus 3, and I'm going to write it over here as the divisor. And then underneath the division bar, I'll write the numerator, which is our dividend. So x to the 4th. And what I need to have my red flag go off is that there's no x cubed term, and each of the terms has to be represented. So I need to put a little placeholder, x to the 3rd, in there. If we don't, things are not going to line up properly, so we definitely need to put some sort of placeholder. Someone asked if it's plus or if it's minus here. Doesn't matter, it's 0. So I usually end up putting a plus so that I don't have to deal with any extra subtraction signs. Now we can write our 2x squared minus x minus 27. So all of our 4, 3, 2, 1, all of our exponents are represented. So now we're going to follow our rules, and to see if what I need to multiply here, I can find something that goes in from x squared to x to the 4th. So I would need to multiply by an x squared, and like I said, I like to line these up. So now I'm taking x squared and multiplying it by all of these terms, distributing it. So x squared times x squared, x to the 4th, x squared minus 2x, we're going to have a negative 2x to the 3rd. So if I didn't have this 0x to the 3rd, I would have the squared here and things wouldn't line up right. So having this here makes sense for our placeholder. And then I have x squared, and then that's times a negative 3. So negative 3x squared. And everything lines up nicely. So let's go for the subtraction. So subtract turns to addition, turns to addition. So that's a switcheroo all the way through. And now we're ready to cancel the first term. Here I'm left with 2x cubed. And here I have plus 5x squared. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and do the same steps again. How many times is x squared? Go into 2x to the 3rd. Well, I'm going to need a positive 2. And I'm always down a degree, so I'm going to need 2, and then I'm going to put an x in. There we go. So 2x times x squared is 2x to the 3rd. 2x times negative 2x will be a negative 4x squared. Oh, and forgive me, I forgot to bring this negative x down. There we go. And now I have 2x times negative 3, and that's going to be a negative 6x. So long division, sometimes you can catch different things that you've done, because I was realizing I was going to get a 3rd term here, but there was nothing above it, so I had to remember to bring that down. So we've drawn our line. Now we'll go in for the subtraction. Switch, switch, switch. I'll simplify it. 5 and 4, so it would be 9x squared. And then here we have a negative 1, positive 6, so we'll have plus 5x. And here I'll bring down my negative 27. All right, so let's see, let's go in purple. I'm going to see how many times x squared is going to go into 9x squared. And it looks like I'm going to have to multiply by a 9. So I'm going to get 9x squared, and then 9 times negative 2, we'll have a negative 18x, and then we'll have 9 times negative 3, that's negative 27. Now I'm going to go in and do my switching. And let's see, let's cancel what we can out. So positive 9x squared and minus 9x squared, those cancel. Now I have 5 and 18, so I have 23x. And those constants cancel out with the 0. And I can put plus 0, but I'm just going to keep this as my remainder. So with this as a remainder, I know that this does not divide in evenly. It's not a factor. So I need to add the remainder in. And so I will just add that. I take the remainder and then put it over the divisor. If this was a negative remainder, I would have just put a minus in here, or you could do plus a negative. And here's our quotient.